and Tyler's father wearing a suit that surprised everyone who remembered him as a quiet man from the conservatory days. And Carmen Rodriguez, a civil rights attorney famous for tearing down institutions that thought they were untouchable. "Apologies for the interruption," David said, already filming. "We're live, and we're here because this private gala is connected to a discrimination case our network has been investigating." The audience froze. Live broadcast meant every smug whisper, every sneer, every shocked reaction was now traveling into thousands of homes. Richardson sputtered about permission to film. Carmen opened a folder with the kind of smile that never comes without consequences. "This event received public funding," she said. Victoria tried to stand, deciding too late that she needed to look composed for the camera. "We don't know what this is about. If you have a complaint, there are proper channels." "We used them," Carmen said, voice sharp. "We filed formal complaints 6 months ago. Those are private communications. Not when they're used to pressure a publicly funded conservatory into firing a teacher for being black," Carmen replied, holding up printouts. "They're evidence." Jonathan watched, jaw tight, because he'd seen this machine before. Kesha didn't flinch. She met the camera head-on. "I'm not here to ambush anyone," she said. "I'm here to sing. And if singing makes your prejudice visible, that's on you." Tyler let out a tiny laugh at the exact wrong moment for the committee's nerves, and the innocence of that sound cut through the hall like sunlight through smoke. Carmen's voice rose as David panned across the crowd. "We've documented a pattern. Qualified artists of color quietly removed after donor complaints. Positions refilled with less qualified candidates, connected to wealth and whiteness, all justified as budget or tradition. Guests who had walked in thinking they were patrons of culture now looked like witnesses at trial." Some shifted toward the exits. Others stayed, trapped by curiosity and shame. Then Jonathan nodded toward Kesha. "The stage is yours," he said softly. "Let them hear what they tried to bury." Kesha closed her eyes. No orchestra, just air and voice. The first note came out clear, high, and thunder-steady, and the entire room changed shape around it. It wasn't just skill. It was something ancestral. Something trained and earned and survived. She opened with amazing grace, but not the polite version people clap to at galas. She sang it like a spiritual, like a memory, like a confession pulled from generations that were forced to sing through pain. Phones lowered, hands stilled. Victoria's face crumpled, mascara cutting black rivers down cheeks that had never had to answer for anything in public. Richardson's mouth fell open with the slow horror of a man realizing he almost erased a once-in-a-generation voice because it didn't fit his idea of who belongs in classical halls. Kesha flowed into Strange Fruit, voice turning the lyrics into a blade. Bodies in trees, blood on leaves, a legacy of silence splintering under her breath. The crowd didn't just hear the song, they felt it accusing them. Carmen leaned toward David. "Film their faces," she whispered. "History is happening." When Kesha finished, the silence lasted a full minute, and nobody dared break it too early. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said into the microphone, "you just heard what Westfield and this city chose to silence. This is not only about one teacher being fired. This is about how power uses money to decide whose excellence counts." She turned slightly, facing the camera, and then the room. "Ms. Caldwell, before you deny anything, let's read your own words." She quoted from Victoria's emails concern about inappropriate cultural influence. warning about donor withdrawal unless Westfield removed divisive faculty, and the classic lie that it wasn't about race but standards. Gasps rippled as David zoomed in on Victoria's shaking hands. Carmen pivoted to Richardson. You signed the dismissal for budget reasons. Why was the budget restored 1 week later for a replacement with half her qualifications and a famous last name? Richardson couldn't speak. Jonathan stood, voice like gravel. He said it in meetings. Parents were uncomfortable. They wanted someone less controversial. Marcus stepped forward, calm but firm. My wife isn't a desperate intruder. She's a trained, decorated musician who tried every legal channel first. You didn't listen until cameras arrived. Kesha took the microphone back, not angry, just devastatingly clear. I didn't come to ruin careers, she said, so I came to sing. If my voice threatens your idea of tradition, then your tradition isn't about art. It's about control. She looked into the lens. Talent has no color. Excellence has no gatekeepers. And if you have to silence people to keep your world comfortable, your world deserves to change. Tyler grinned again, wide, bright, and fearless. The contrast between a baby's innocence and an institution's cruelty made the whole broadcast impossible to ignore. That night didn't end as a gala. It ended as a reckoning. A federal investigation followed. Victoria resigned from the committee in disgrace. Westfield fired Richardson. The Cultural Center issued public apologies that sounded hollow compared to the truth people had watched live. 3 months later, Kesha signed with a major label. Her debut single about discrimination in the arts hit #1. She was invited back as artistic director and declined, not because she couldn't lead, but because she refused to be a trophy for the same halls that tried to erase her. I didn't come to beg for a seat, she told an interviewer. I came to show I never needed permission to belong. Tyler, now toddling around backstage at real concerts, clapped while his mother stood in venues where her name used to be a joke. Jonathan summed it up best on national TV. They tried to silence a voice. Instead, they amplified a movement. And that's why this story matters, because prejudice hides behind tradition in every elite space that pretends to celebrate diversity while policing who gets to embody it. Because sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is walk onto a stage that was never built for them and sing anyway. And because the best revenge isn't burning people down, it's building something so undeniable that they're forced to stand, clap, and face what they tried to ignore. If you believe greatness doesn't need the approval of gatekeepers, subscribe to Truly Black and White for more stories that prove respect, fairness, and justice can rise anywhere, even in the rooms that think they own them.